Carlos Alcaraz. I started talking about this about a year ago, done some stuff on YouTube, done many articles and interviews. You know, at the end of the day, let me just go through the medley of things that I see that are probably a little different than a lot of other people. You know, I've done this a long time, evaluating talent. This is a generational talent. I've never seen a young man, a complete package like Carlos. Let me explain exactly what I see, but at the end of the day, you know, everybody looks on the outside. They look at the Ferrari. And as I always say, what greatness is really is on the inside, how you're going to handle pressure. We'll get into that in a minute. Let's first talk about his movement, okay? At the end of the day, he is the fastest player. He has the best makeup speed that's ever been seen in the history of tennis. I know that's a crazy statement, but someone has to be the best. I've never seen anybody go from A to B. Once he starts moving, his makeup speed is like we've never seen. Why is that important? Well, maybe on a rainy day, you're a little nervous, you can hang in there. Maybe you get to the ball quicker, and then you have options. When you have options, you can play more offense. When you have options, you can counter punch better. When all that happens, it comes back to your opponent. Mentally, you break them down. They start overplaying. So the wild card in all this, besides his head, is the movement. His makeup speed is crazy. A lot of great movers all through the test of time, but this guy is faster than fast, quicker than quick. It's unbelievable. Once he starts running, his speed is a whole nother level the game of tennis has never seen. The next thing, let's talk about the drop shot. When you miss it, your coach doesn't want you to do it. But when you make it, everybody says, great shot. What I like about this is he's been doing this for a long, long time. He's been doing this for a long, long time. He can do it at clutch times. He does it a lot in tiebreakers. He can do it off a lot of shots that maybe with other people would be low percentage. This starts at a young age. But his disguise and deception, especially on the forehand, he comes in and then he puts you in the freezer. Freezer! All right? He just freezes you. All right? So now you got to defend the power, but the drop shot off both sides. And he can do it anytime, anywhere against anybody. That's a small piece of the puzzle. Remember, greatness isn't one thing. Greatness is rare air. It's a special fraternity. And it's a puzzle. But I went right to the drop shot because that changes the whole landscape when he gets you on the heels. But he'll try it anytime, and he's confident. What I like next is his aggressiveness. He attacks the ball. He's very aggressive. He cuts the court. He moves up to the ball. He pulls the trigger. It's a little different than what we've seen in the past. I look at him as a combination of Agassi, Federer, okay, Nadal, okay, and the Joker. I look at him as wrapped all four of those in one. Agassi, technically, there's a lot of common threads. Taking the ball early, compact strokes, very explosive, okay? He's cut from the same cloth with Rafa. If he has to play patient and steady, and if you want to play 30 balls, no problem. He'll play 31. But the difference with Carlos, the quality of his consistency. It's one thing to be consistent, but to do it at 50, 60, 70, 80 miles an hour 10 times in a row, that's a whole different animal. So everybody has to understand what we're looking at here, what we're looking at. And I wouldn't go so over the top if this guy didn't check every single box. Okay, technically or biomechanically, the forehand. I love the take back, the elbow position. He goes to the outside. He taps the dog, even though the dog is from Spain. It doesn't matter where the dog's from, anywhere in the world. He taps the dog to the outside, the pull, the flip. It all happens on the right side of his body. His elbow's a little higher, but it actually creates more gravity drop, and he gets a little more racket speed. Very, very impressed with the forehand. The backhand, fundamentally sound. Right arm straight, left elbow bent, racket head above. He has the pull and the flip, but what I like, he can take it down the line or cross court. He's not afraid to use it. He's offensive on everything. Let's go to the serve. Now, the serve's gonna get better. Biomechanically, there's a few things that he needs to do a little better, but it's still very effective. He can still hit at 130, 135 and pop it. He has a monster kick, especially on the ad court. If you don't take it early, It's coming back to his forehand, and then he can just go bang and pull the trigger with his forehand. So he already has a great kick serve. So at the end of the day, there's no real flaws in his game. Now, let's go with the magician, okay, or the soft hands. His hands are like cotton. That's another thing. He has this raw power, but his hands are like cotton. He can chip it, he can dip it, he can flip it, he can rip it. His hands are very, very soft, all right? So what's that mean? When he volleys, he can absorb power. He can absorb power. And speaking of the volley, okay, he's not afraid to come in. He'll serve him volley to mix it up if you're standing back in the bleachers, all right? Or he's not afraid to sneak into the net. I've never seen a young man so complete. But let's get to the wild card. The wild card in everything, okay? What's inside. You can't buy it at Walgreens. You can't buy it at Publix. You can be taught mental toughness. But this kid was born to do this. He's a performer. He's a showman. He's an artist. And most of all, he has humility. He has humility. He's just so appreciative and respectful of what has come at him. And the quote of the year, after he beat Rafa, well, instead of being all over the rainbow and going out of control, he says, well, it shows one thing. All the hard work I put in, I'm on the right track. I mean, what a quote. This guy, not only, in my opinion, okay, barring injury, can be the greatest player of all time. I think he'll have 10, 12 Grand Slams by age 24. If he doesn't get hurt, he can win on any surface. He's going to be vulnerable when a guy has a big serve. No one's going undefeated. He's going to lose. There'll be ups and downs. But when it's all said and done, this guy is the complete package. But mentally, okay, how he was raised, his appreciation, the work ethic, okay, that I see just by analyzing this stuff. Because when it's all said and done, I've evaluated talent, not just in tennis, but football, baseball, basketball, hockey. I have a very good feel for this. With guys, it's trickier because there's more physicality. But at the end of the day, he's a complete package. And I'm going to go as far as I think he's going to change the whole landscape and change a lot how tennis is going to be taught. I think more people are going to teach the drop shot. I think more people are going to teach people to be more aggressive, okay? And they're going to look at this guy's attitude. So I think it's going to be transformative. His game is going to take things to a whole nother level. It's a whole different style where you got patience, but you got firepower, okay? You have touch, okay? But you have a very strong shot. So a package that we're seeing. But at the end of the day, he has that smile. He loves to compete. You look at his body language. At the end of the day, one of the best role models, even though he's 18 years old. This guy's the real deal. I'm just telling you, I've never seen like it. And what I tell everybody, everything in life is in the eye of the beholder. And what you may see probably could be a little different than Rick may see.